we need to think properly, okay, this is where we are now, and how do we need to propel our country so that we can have a much better livelihood, and then we can test some of all these infrastructures that all the other countries, but of which I can openly say I think we're way away from that. What we need to do is start off with the small roads that we have. And as we all know that we just don't need to lie to each other to say we can put all this mechanization. Okay, it's good for us to foresee, to say this is what we need to put in place and this is what we need to have, like all these spaghetti roads and things like that, which is great. It's a great policy and it's good to say that. But we just need to be realistic to our people so that we know we've got a huge date. I think we're owing roughly about 14 billion US dollars, and we need to think about our balance of payments, how we're going to deal with that, how we're going to deal with this structural date. So we just need to be transparent and open to our citizens to say, because I know when you're put there in this office, people will try to judge you as per the promises that you have given. So we need to look at, we are a downtrodden country at the moment. We are sinking as a country. So what we need to do is look after these small roads, start with the small roads that we have. Do an allocation budget for that. We need to be understanding that. Look at the hospitals, the infrastructure. I'm just talking basically infrastructure. The hospitals that we have, the schools that we have. You're talking about the number of roads that are linking, main cities and towns, so that it becomes very conducive, for exportation and things like that. So we just need to start small, yeah. Be realistic. We're going to start small because we're thinking about the structural data that we have, and then we can put in an allocation as a feasibility study to say, okay, in 15, 20 years time, then we can put in these bullet, whatever trains, and then we can put in the spaghetti roads, then we can, whatever. It's a nice vision and it's a good vision to have. But let's talk about what we need to do first before we can look, ahead. That's what, realistic politicians would do, yeah? And then you're not over-promising that you can't do. Because as we need to speak right now, we're thinking about how we can match the 140 million that ZANU-PF has put out there to say this is allocated for election. So we need to match that. So anything to say, we're just going to force people to say, let's vote and this whatever. I liked what you talked about. I think the voter education is quite important on those who are observers. In terms of putting representation in polling stations, and on those who are of actual voters, like we're talking about the youth. I think we've got quite a lot of youth that we're missing. I think the litmus test was in the by-election that has just happened. We did see the age range that voted was pretty much the elderly. The youth was missing out, yeah? So I think the education around that area and trying to push that word, I think will
Sorry,
give us...
for us, the party, I want to thank you, but I'm also taking cognizant of the fact that we've got other speakers as well. I hope you're okay to prepare to land, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. Yeah. Thank you.
No, no, no. I wasn't saying let it be an
Oh,
abrupt
you can,
end.
yes, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, yeah.
I like the
Let's
other
see.
point. That's my last point. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry if I've taken so much time. I like the other point that is it Chambai was saying is having a borehole put in an urban area. At a time, well, we've got the waterworks, isn't it? The water systems are there, but you've got the issue of sanitation. If you open up your tap, you've got black water coming out. So you've got an issue there. So in terms of sanitation, that's what the government has got to be accountable for, not to be putting in a borehole in an urban area, because the waterworks are there already. That is a backward system. So I would applaud that, for somebody who said that. And another thing is that when we watch the Fumvudza, I just need to add on, on what that gentleman was saying, which is quite positive, so that we can teach our citizens that, we need to push ourselves forward in terms of mechanization. So in terms of mechanization, if a president is coming out doing the Fumvudza, holding a hall, and actually saying we need to be merry about that, there is something wrong when we need to talk about just having just tractors. If you have to buy a second-hand tractor that you've got to give out as a form of subsidy, that the government has got an obligation to do, because we're an agriculturally based economy. So the government has got to heavily subsidize, because that's where our leverage is, isn't it? So we need mechanization whereby you can buy a tractor for, I think, 4,000 or 5,000 US dollars. The government can do that. roll out. And if they were talking about the fishing road, I'm sure, I think you watched on our, if anybody was following, for us, we new party anyway, we talked about you need to give people fishing rods, not to give them the fish. So ZANU-PF takes things literally. So the fishing rods that they went and bought, to the people in whatever they, it's just because we had that title there as for us party to say you need to give them fishing rods, not the fish. And look at what they did. But then you're looking at a time where we've got drought. So if we've got drought and there is no water in the rivers, what are the people going to fish? So we need to think as citizens to say, what is it that you need that is sustainable as a country, as a city, or as a town, as a district? What is it that we need? We need a proper economy, not something that is just given, so that it just lasts when it comes to elections. We all know now that's what it's meant for. But I think we are much cleverer than that. Thank you very much.